by angry peasant at Chorchora, Uttar Pradesh, Gorakhpur district, Gorakhpur district of Uttar Pradesh. The attack on local police by angry peasant at Chorchora in Gorakhpur district was February 1922 changed the whole situation. Gandhi shocked by Gandhi shocked the Chorchora incident and withdrew the non-cooperation movement February 1922 কি বললো গান্ধীজি 12 ফেব্রুয়ারি 1922 সালে নন কর্পোরেশন অহিংস আন্দোলন সেটাকে তুলে নিলেন। স্বরাজ পার্টি 1923 সালে স্বরাজ পার্টি 1923 Gandhi's decision to call off the agitation caused frustration among masses. Gandhi's decision to call off the agitation caused Gandhi's decision to call off the agitation caused frustration among masses. His decision came in for sharp criticism. From his colleagues like Motilal Nehru, C.R. Das, and N.C. Kelkar, who organized the Swaraj Party. The foundation of the Swaraj Party were laid on January 1st, 1923. The foundation of the Swaraj Party were laid on January 1st, 1923. তাহলে কি হলো গান্ধীর ডিসিশন অফ কল অফ দ্য এডুকেশন কজ ফ্রাস্ট্রেশন এমন হয়েছে গান্ধী কী করে অসহযোগ আন্দোলন করাটা বন্ধ করে দিল কল অফ করে দিল সেটা নাকি তারই যে বিভিন্ন কলিগ সহপাঠী সহ যে সমস্ত বন্ধু বান্ধব ছিল তাদের মধ্যে একটা ফ্রাস্ট্রেশন দেখা দিল কী করলো যে ডিসিশন কেম ফর সেভেন ক্রিটিসিজম এবং তারপরে ক্রিটিসাইজ করতে পারবে তার তোমার ডিসিশন ক্রিটিসাইজ করতে এর মধ্যে তার কলেজ কার ছিল মতিলাল নেহরু সিআর দাস এনসি কেলকার মতিলাল নেহরু সিআর দাস এলসি কেলকার এক্সেট্রা সো David Coggins bro, if you have enough time you can download a ebook or buy this book from Amazon. It's a great book, brother. It will change your life. Swaraj Party, Gandhi's decision to call off the agitation caused frustration among masses. His decision came in for several criticism from his colleagues like Motilal Nehru, C.R. Das, N.C. Kelkar, who organized the Swaraj Party, who founded the foundation of Swaraj Party was laid on January 1st. Swaraj Party was Swaraj Party was 1st January 1923 সালে স্বরাজ পার্টি হলো তো it proposed then an alternative program of diverting the movement from widespread civil disobedience program to restrictive one used to encourage its members to enter into legislative council under the Montfort reforms 1995. The by the contesting election in order to rake and legislature for within the within and to use moral pleasure moral pleasure to compel the authority to concede to the demand for self-government and to use the moral pressure to compel the authority to concede to the popular demand for the self-government. In the election held in 1923, the Swaraj Party captured 45 of the 145 seats. In 1923, Swaraj Party captured 45 of the total 145 seats. The provincial election they secured few seats. The provincial election they secured few seats, but in the central province they secured a clear majority. In provincial election they secured few seats, but in central province they secured a clear majority. In Bengal, the Swaraj Party was the largest party. They followed the policy of undiluted opposition. They followed the policy of undiluted opposition. The Swarajist demand the release all the political prisoners, provincial autonomy, repealing the representative lawyers imposed by the government. However, after the death of C.R. Das in 1925, they drifted towards policy of cooperation with the government. Thus, led the dissension on the party broke up in 1927 and party broke up at 19 and party broke up at 19 and party broke up at 1926. Party broke up at 19 and party broke up at 1950 and party broke up at 1926. Then what's happened? The Swaraj Party 1923 Gandhi's decision of call of the agitation caused the frustration among the masses. This decision came in several criticism in his colleagues like Motilal Nehru, C.R. Das, N.C. Kelkar, Motilal Nehru, C.R. Das, N.C. Motilal Nehru, C.R. Das, N.C. Motilal Nehru, C.R. Das, N.C. Kelkar, who organized the Swaraj Party, who organized the Swaraj Party, who organized the Swaraj Party. The foundation of the Swaraj Party was laid on the foundation of Swaraj Party was laid in 1st January 1923. The Congress Khilafat Swaraj Party, the foundation of the Swaraj Party is laid in January 1923 as the Congress Khilafat Swaraj Party. It proposed then an alternative program of diverting the movement from the widespread civil disobedience program to restrictive one which would encourage its member to enter into the legislative council establishment under the Montfort reform contest election in order to rig the legislature from within and to use moral pleasure to compel authority to concede to the popular demand for the self-government. In the election held in 1923, the Swaraj Party captured 45. In the election held in 1923, Swaraj Party captured 45 seats among the 145 seats. In provincial election, they secured few seats. In provincial election, they secured few seats, but in the central province, they secured a majority. In Bengal, the Swaraj Party was the largest party. They followed the policy of undiluted opposition. They followed the policy of undiluted opposition. The Swarajis demanded the release of the political provincial autonomy and repealing the standards imposed by the government. However, after the death of C.R. Das 1925, they drifted towards the policy of the corporation with the government. This led to this dissension of the party broke up in 1926. Simon Commission 1929, the activities of the Swaraj Party started and first to 1923, and it's broke up. It was 1926, and it broke up, and it broke up 19 and it broke up 19 and it broke up and it broke up 19 and it broke up 1926. And that's the Simon Commission. Simon Commission is 1927. Simon Commission 19, Simon Commission 1927. Okay, Simon Commission 1927. Simon Commission. The activities of the Swaraj Party had introduced the British government to review the working of the diarchy system introduced by the Montagu-Chelmsford reforms. Montagu-Chelmsford report in 1919. The activities of the Swaraj Party. The activities of the Swaraj Party had induced the British government. The activities of the Swaraj Party had induced the British government to review the working of the diarchy system introduced by the Montagu-Chelmsford reforms in 1919 and report as to what extent the representative government could be introduced in India. The British government appointed the Simon Commission in November 1946 for the task. All members of this commission are Europeans. Whites, Indian political leaders felt insulted and decided to boycott the commission. But whenever the commission went there were cries of Simon go back. It was while leading a demonstration against the Simon Commission in Lahore that a fatal lathi blow was death to Lala Lajpat Rai. It was his death that Bhagat Singh. It was his death that Bhagat Singh and his comrades were seeking to avenge when they killed a white political official. Sonda the activities of the Swaraj Party had induced the British government the activities of the the activities of the Swaraj Party had induced the British government to review the working of the diarchy system introduced by the Montagu-Chelmsford reform. The activities of the Swaraj Party had induced the British government to review the working of the diarchy system introduced by the Chelmsford reforms 1990 and to report as to what extent a representative government could be introduced in India. The British government appointed the Simon Commission in November 1927 for the task. All members of this commission are Europeans, white and Indian political leaders felt insulted and decided to boycott the commission. However, the commission when there were cries of Simon go back. It was while leading a demonstration against the Simon Commission in Lahore that a fatal lathi was death to Rajput Rai. It was his death that Bhagat Singh and his comrades are seeking the revenge while they killed a white police official Sundar in December 1928. The Nehru Committee report. The committee committee was set up under the chairmanship of Motilal Nehru to determine the principles of the constitution before actual drafting it. The chief architect of the report were the chief architects of the reports are Motilal Nehru and Tej Bahadur Sapru. The recommendation hook a lively debate concerning the goal of India domination status or complete independence. 14 points, 14 point of Jinnah. 14 point of Jinnah. The Jinnah leader of Muslim League did not accept the Nehru report. Jinnah therefore drew up a list of demands, which was called 14 point of Jinnah. 14 point of Jinnah. 14 point of Jinnah. 14 point of Jinnah. 14 point of 14 point of Jinnah. Let's do 14 point of Jinnah. The Jinnah, the leader of Muslim, did not accept the Nehru report. Nehru report. Jinnah therefore drew up a list of demand, which was called 14 point of which called the 14 point of Jinnah. 14 point of Jinnah. Lahore session, December 1929, March at its annual session held in Lahore, December under the presidency of Jawaharlal Nehru. In the Indian National Congress passed a resolution declaring Purna Swaraj, complete independence, to be the goal of the national movement. Purna Swaraj to be the goal of the Lahore session. Lahore session, December Lahore session 19. Purna Swaraj national movement to be the goal of the national movement. At its annual session held in Lahore, December 1929, under the presidency of the Jawaharlal Nehru, the Indian National Congress passed a resolution declaring Purna Swaraj, complete independence, to be the goal of the national movement. On December 31st, 1909, the newly adopted tricolor flag was unfurled, and January 26 was fixed as the Independence Day. And it was fixed as the Independence Day. This was to be celebrated every year. Pleading to the people not to submit the British rule any longer. Dandi March, Salt Satyagraha, Salt Satyagraha. To achieve the goal of complete independence, Gandhi launched another civil disobedience movement along with 78 followers. Gandhi started his famous march from Sabarmati Ashram on March 1923 for the small village Gandhi Nafsari district to break the swaddling law. Gandhi covered a distance of 240 miles in 24 days. Gandhi covered a distance of 240 miles in 240 miles. Gandhi covered a distance of 240 miles in 24 days. March to on reaching the seashore on April 6, he broke the salt law by picking up salt from the seashore. By picking a handful of salt, Gandhi inaugurated the civil disobedience movement that was remained unsurpassed in the history of Indian national movement. For the countrywide mass participation, it unleashed the movement became powerful, that it is part of partition even among the Indian soldiers in the army. The Garhwal soldiers refused to fire on the people at Peshawar. The Garhwal soldiers refused to fire on the people at Peshawar. Gandhiji were arrested on May 500. This was followed by another round of boycott of foreign goods and took the shape of the national-wide civil disobedience movement in which ladies also participated. Soon thereafter followed representative measures such as mass arrest, lathi charge, political firing, etc. About 1 lakh people went to jail. Dandi March salt सत्याग्रह 1930 Dandi March salt सत्याग्रह Dandi March salt सत्याग्रह Dandi March salt सत्याग्रह to achieve the goal of complete independence. Gandhi wants to complete the goal of complete. To achieve the goal of complete independence, Gandhi launched another civil disobedience movement along with 78 followers. Gandhi started his famous march from Sabarmati. Gandhi started his famous লবণ সত্যাগ্রহ ডান্ডি আন্দোলন লবণ সত্যাগ্রহ 1930 গান্ধী আন্দোলন লবণ সত্যাগ্রহ সাবরমতী আশ্রম March 12, 1903 from a small village of Gandhi Navasari district to break the salt law. 12 March 1930 Sabarmati Ashram visited 20 March 1930. To break the solar law and the issue of important days from 12 March to April 5, 12 March to April 5, 12 March to April 5, 12 March to Sabarmati 12 March to April 5, 12 March to April 5, distance 24 days ago is on reaching the seashore on April 6, on reaching the seashore on April 6, he broke the salt law on reaching the seashore on April 6, on reaching the seashore on April 6, he broke the salt law by picking up the salt from seashore. By picking a handful of salt, Gandhi inaugurated the civil disobedience movement. By picking a handful of salt, Gandhi inaugurated the civil disobedience movement. The movement that was to remain unsurpassed. The movement that was remain to unsurpassed in the history of India. The movement that was to remain unsurpassed in the history of Indian national movement for the countrywide mass participation in unleashed. The movement became so powerful that it sparked of patriotism. The movement became so powerful. The movement became so powerful that it sparked of the patriotism. Even among the Indian soldiers in the army. The Garhwal soldiers refused to fire on the people at Peshawar, and the Garhwal soldiers refused to fire on the people at Peshawar. The Garhwal soldiers refused to fire on the people at Peshawar. Gandhiji was arrested on May 5, 2015. must be this was followed by another round of boycott of foreign goods, and it took the shape of the National Guard civil disobedience movement in which ladies also participated soon. Thereafter followed representative measure and mass lathi charge, police firing, etc. About 1,000 people are going to jail. The first round table conference 1930, round table conference 1930, first round table conference 1930, first round table conference 1930. First round table conference 1930. It was held in November 12, 1930. It was held in London, November 12, 1930 to discuss the Simon Commission, but was totally boycotted by the Indian National Government. Totally boycotted by the Indian National Government. It was held in London. It was held in London on November 5, 1930. It discussed Simon Commission but was totally boycotted by the Indian National Congress. The Commission had proposed a cell government in the provinces and Federation of British India and previously seat of the center. However, the participants of the Muslim League, Liberal and other parties had assembled for the discussion of the Commission report, but the absence of the premier political party, the first round table conference had to be adjourned January 12, 1931. January 12, 1931. The first round table conference. First round table, first. The first roundtable conference held in London. The first roundtable conference it was held in London 1933. That is gold table বৈঠক নভেম্বর 1930 সালে it was held in প্রথম যে গোল টেবিল বৈঠক করা হয়েছিল 12 নভেম্বর 1930 সালে that to discuss the Simon Commission but was totally boycotted by the Indian National Congress. It was held in London on 12 November 1933 to discuss the Simon Commission, but boycotted by the Indian National Congress. The Commission had proposed self-government in the province and Federation of British India and the princely state at the center. However, the representative of the Muslim League, the Liberals and other parties had assembled for the discussion on the Commission report, but in absence of the premier political party, the first round table conference had adjourned January 12, 1931. It was held in London 12 November 1931. 12 নভেম্বর 1930 সালে লন্ডন হয়েছিল, কিন্তু সেখানে সামন কমিশন ডিসকাশন কথা বলার জন্য হয়েছিল, কিন্তু সেখানে ন্যাশনাল কংগ্রেস, সেখানে কি ছিল ন্যাশনাল কংগ্রেস সেখানে অনুপস্থিত ছিল, অনুপস্থিত ছিল in the previous however the representative of the Muslim League liberals and other parties Muslim League liberals and other parties had assembled for the discussion of the commission report, but in absence of the premier party, in absence of premier political party, the first round table conference had to be adjourned January 12, 1991. এটা হচ্ছে গান্ধী ইরউইন প্যাক্ট or Delhi Pact, Gandhi Irwin Pact or Delhi Pact, March 5, 1931. Early in 1931, two moderate statesmen, Sapru and Jayakar, initiated efforts to bring about rapprochement between Gandhi and the government. Six meeting with the Viceroy of Lord Irwin finally led to the signifying of a pact between the two on March 5, 1931, whereby the Congress call of the movement and agreed to join the second round of the World Summit. Regarding the Gandhi Irwin Pact, Jawaharlal remarks, this is the way the world ends, not with a bang but a impact. This is the way that words end, not with a bang, but a whimper. The second round World Cup in 1931, it was held in London during the visit of the Lord Willing during the 22nd of December 1931. Gandhiji attended it on behalf of Indian National Congress, and nothing much was expected from the conference for the imperialist political force which ultimately controlled the British government in London, were opposed to any political economic congress. The conference, however, felt as Gandhiji could not agree with British Parliament disrespect Indian the second round table government. It was held in London during the visit of Lord Wellington during December 1931. Gandhi attended it on behalf of the National Congress. Nothing much was expected from the conference for the imperialist political forces, which ultimately controlled the British were opposed to any political or economic concession being given to India, which could lead to its independence. Then the conference, however, failed as Gandhiji could not. The conference, however, failed. Gandhi could not agree with British Prime Minister Ramsay MacDonald on this policy of upcoming and the British Hello. India. India. Muslim 70 Murugan Khan, Japan, in Bengal Sugar, that is governor that is governed by Mughal Emperor, governor Harukshire, grant of the governorship, grant of the in 1917 Mushid Khan was appointed as the Bengal Subedar by Harukshire, grant of the governorship of Odisha also by him in 1931. He transferred his capital from Dhaka to capital of Bengal from Dhaka to Murshidabad. Mushid 1770. He transferred the capital of Bengal from Dhaka to Murshidabad. He transferred the capital of Bengal from Dhaka to he transferred the capital of Bengal. He transferred the capital of Bengal. He transferred the capital of Bengal from Dhaka to Murshidabad. He transferred the capital of Bengal. He transferred the capital of Bengal from Dhaka to Murshidabad. Dhaka to Murshidabad. Bengal Dhaka to Murshidabad. Sujaud মুশকিল সুজাউদ্দিন 1729 সুজাউদ্দিন 1727 He was the son-in-law of Murshid Quli Khan. He was the son-in-law of Murshid Quli Khan. Sujauddin, who is Sujauddin? Son-in-law Sujauddin was the son-in-law of Murshid. Sujauddin was the son-in-law of Murshid Quli Khan. Sujauddin Sujauddin 1727 Sujauddin was the son-in-law of Murshid Quli Khan. He granted the governorship of Bihar by Mughal Emperor Muhammad Shah Rangila in 1973. Sujauddin, he was the son-in-law of Murshid Quli Khan. He was granted the governorship of Bihar. From the Mughal Emperor Muhammad Shah Rangila, from the Mughal Emperor Muhammad Shah Rangila, 1733. Sarfraz Khan. He was the son of Sujauddin and was murdered by Alibuddin Khan, the deputy governor of Bihar. Sarfraz Khan. বাংলা উড়িষ্যা বিহার ছিল সুজাউদ্দিন from the Muhammad Shah Rangila 1733. সুজাউদ্দিন সরফরাজ খান, সেগুলি 1780 আলিবর্দী খান করা বধ করা হয়েছে। আলিবর্দী খান 1740 1756 legalized his usurpation by receiving a command from Mughal Emperor Muhammad Shah Rangila. After paying his 2 crores, he prevented England and French. He prevented England and French from fortifying their factories at Calcutta and Chandanagar respectively. He paying him 2 crores. He prevented English and French. He prevented English and French. Sujauddin Siরাজউদ্দৌলা আলীবর্দী খান 1740 থেকে 1756 সেগুলো মহাসংঘের 2 কোটি টাকা দিয়ে সেদিন নিজের দখল করে নিল। He prevented the English and France from fortifying their factories. Siরাজউদ্দৌলা Alibuddin Khan was succeeded by his grandson. Alibuddin was succeeded by his grandson. Siরাজউদ্দৌলা seized the English factory Kashim Bazaar and 20 June 1757. Siরাজউদ্দৌla seized the Rajbazaar at Kashim Bazaar. একটা টুটে এলাকা English factory at Kashmir 20th June 1757. Fort William surrendered, but the Robert Clive was recovered. Queen June 1977 to Fort Williams and but Robert Clive. The English factory, the English factory at Kashim Bazar, 12th June 1756. Shirajudullah seized the English factory. Shirajudullah seized the English factory at Kashim Bazar on 20 June 1757. Fort William surrendered, but Robert Clive recovered Calcutta on 2nd January 1757. The Treaty of Alinagar was signed. Treaty of Alinagar, 2nd January 1757. Treaty of 2nd January 1757. Second January on 2nd January 1757. Treaty of Alinagar was signed. Treaty of Alinagar was signed on 2nd January 1757. On 2nd January 1757, Treaty of Alinagar was signed. By Shiraz considered practically all the demands. British due to all the demands, British then captured Chandanagar, the first settlements on March 1557. On 2nd January 1757, the Treaty of Alinagar was signed. When Shiraz considered practically all the demands, British then captured Chandanagar, the French settlements on March 2nd January. Treaty of Alinagar, French. The Battle of Plassey was fought on 23rd June 1757. Owning to a conspiracy. The Nawab was defeated. The following betrayed Nawab. The Nawab was following betrayed the Nawab. The Mirzapur, Manikchand, officer in charge of Kolkata. Manikchand in charge of Kolkata. So Amichand, rich merchant. Jawad Sheikh, biggest banker of India, and Khadim Khas commanded a largest number of troops. So Mirzapur, Manikchand, officer in charge of Kolkata. Amichand, rich Sikh merchant. Jawad Sheikh, biggest banker of both world. Khadim Khan commanded a large number of Nawab troops. Khadim Khan commanded a large number of Nawab troops. Khadim Khan, Jagad Seth, Mirza Hussain, Mirza Hussain 57. The company was granted undisputed right to free the trade in public. The company was granted undisputed right. The company was granted undisputed right to free trade in Bengal, Bihar, Odisha. The company was granted the company was granted undisputed right to free trade in Bangladesh and Odisha. The company was granted undisputed right. The company was granted undisputed right to free trade in Bangladesh and Odisha. It received the jomdari of 24 Pargana. It received the 24 Pargana. It received the jomdari of 24 Parganas. Jafar, however, areas and was forced to abdicate in favor of its own son. The company was granted undisputed right to free trade in Bengal, Bihar, and Odisha. It received the Jamidari of 24 Parganas. Therefore, however, 10 into areas was the force to pursue in favor of his son-in-law, Mirkashim. Mirkashim seated Bardwan, Mirkashim seated Bardwan, Mirkashim seated Bardwan, Mirkashim Bardwan, Midnapuran, Mirkashim seated Bardwan, Chittagong. He shifted his capital from Mushibak to Mirkashim Chittagong. He shifted his capital from Mushibak to Mungar. Mirkashim seated Bardwan, Midnapur, and Chittagong. Mirkashim seated Bardwan, Chittagong. He shifted his capital from Mushibak to Mirkashim seated Bardwan, Chittagong. He shifted his capital from Mushibak to Mungur. The Mirkashim soon revolted as he was angry with the British for misusing the stuff. Mirkashim soon revolted as he was angry with the British for the misuse of the duty process. However, had been defeated by the British. He had been declared he flew to Ahad, where he formed the confidence with the Ahad King Shahjahan, with Ahad King Shujautullah, and Mughal Emperor Shah Alam to Shujautullah, Mughal Emperor Shah Alam, Mughal Emperor Shah Alam Mughal Emperor Shah Alam to Mughal Emperor Shah Alam to the Battle of Buxar, the Battle of Buxar, Mir Qasim, Mir Qasim, Mir Qasim, Battle of Buxar, Mir Qasim, Shujautullah, Mir Qasim, Shujautullah, and Shah Alam to Mir Qasim, Shujautullah, and Shah Alam to the Great by the session of Mir Qasim, Mir Jafar 19. Mir Jafar 1994 Saifuddullah. On Mirza's death, his son Najmudullah was placed on the throne and signed a treaty of 27 1976. On Mirza's death, his son Najmudullah was placed on the throne and signed a treaty on 27 1956 by his novel was different the most of his army, etc. Clive conclude to separate treaties of Allahabad with the Shah Alam and the Shujautullah. Clive schedule to separate treaties of Allahabad with Shah Alam Clive conclude to separate treaties of Allahabad 12 আগস্ট শাহ আলম টু 12 আগস্ট শাহ আলম টু 1917 সিরাজউদ্দৌলা 16 আগস্ট 1917। So guys, I have complete our first 50-minute session of Pomodoro technique. So let's take a 10-minute break and come after 10 minutes. Okay.